Good day to everyone. We will now discuss how to graph linear inequalities and the system of linear inequalities into variables. Let's have now the steps how to graph. So in graphing linear inequalities into variables, we have three steps. Step 1. Replace the inequality symbol with an equal sign. Then step 2, you have to graph the resulting equation. And we will use a solid line if the symbols are less than or equal, greater than or equal. Otherwise, you will use a broken line if the symbols are less than or greater than. Okay? And then for the step 3, you will determine the solution set of the linear inequality by substituting the values of x and y coordinates with 0 and 0. Okay? You may also use any ordered pairs, but it is more easy if you will use the testing point 0, 0. Okay? Now let's have the examples and we will apply the following steps. For example, number 1, we have here the linear inequality 2x plus y is greater than or equal to 4. So let's start first with the step number 1. So step 1, it says that you have to replace the inequality symbol with an equal sign. That's why we have 2x plus y is equal to 4. So now we have a linear equation in standard form. Okay? So it is in the standard form or what we call the SF. Then for step number 2, since we are done with the step 1, we will move on to the step number 2. So for step number 2, you have to graph the resulting equation, which is 2x plus y is equal to 4. So since this is standard form, you have to find the x-intercept, and the y-intercept. Y-intercept. Okay? So we will use a shortcut way how to find the x-intercept and y-intercept. So let's say we have 2x plus y is equal to 4. To find the x-intercept, you will let y is equal to 0. That is the proper way. Again, to find the x-intercept, you will let y is equal to 0. But for the informal way, you may just remove the y term. Ayan, remove the y term. That's why you have now 2x is equal to 4. Then divide both sides by 2 to find the value of x, which is equal to 2. So since the x-intercept is 2, take a look with the x-axis, we have 2. So this will be the point. Since the x-intercept equals 2 means 2, 0. Ordered pair 2, 0. Then for the y-intercept, we have 2x plus y is equal to 4. To find the y-intercept, you will let x is equal to 0. Again, the formal way is to let x is equal to 0. Then if we have the informal way, we can just remove the 2x. That's why we have y is equal to 4. And it means we have 0, 4. Ordered pair 0, 4. So take a look with the y-axis. So we have 0, 4. This is the point. Okay? And then next, we will now connect the points. But before that, let's examine what kind of line should we use, a solid line or a broken line. Now, the original symbol in our given is greater than or equal. Since it is greater than or equal, we will use a solid line. Okay? So we will use a solid line. We will just connect the points. Ayan. So we have now the graph. And this graph is what we called, or this line is what we called the plane divider. Okay? The plane divider divides the plane into two parts. The first part is the first half plane, and the second part is the second half plane. So we have now the two parts. Okay? So for step 3, yeah, let's move on to the step 3. We will now test the region, or we will use the testing point 0, 0. We will determine where is the shaded part or the area that we will have the solution set. Okay, so we will just substitute the 0, 0 with the original equation or linear inequality is 2x plus y is greater than or equal to 4. 2 times 0 plus 0 is greater than or equal to 4. 2 times 0 is 0. Then 0 plus 0 is 0. Greater than or equal to 4. 0 is greater than or equal to 4. Now let's determine if it is true or false. Is 0 greater than or equal to 4? So the answer is false. Remember that 0 is always less than positive number. And if it is negative, 0 is always greater than negative numbers. Okay? So since we have a positive numbers here, so we can say that 0 is greater than or equal to 4 is false. Now, if it is false, you have to shade the part without the origin. Where is the origin? This is the origin. Yeah. Okay? So since the result is false, you will shade the part without the origin. Since this plane, we'll use a highlighter to shade the plane. Ayan. So as you can see, in this half plane, in the second half plane, it doesn't have the origin. So we will shade this part. Ayan. So we will just color the second half lane without the origin. Okay. So, and then once we are done shading this part, we can now write that this part is the solution set. Okay. So we will just write, solution set. Okay. Yeah. So this will be the graph of the linear inequality 2x plus y is greater than or equal to 4. This is now the graph. Okay. Next, let's have another example. Example number 2. So we have here y is greater than 3/4 x minus 2. So let's start first with the step 1. So step 1, you will just replace the inequality symbol with an equal sign. Y is equal to 3/4 x minus 2. So as you can see, we have here a slope-intercept form of linear equation. Okay? So next step, we will now move on with the step 2. So for the step 2, you have to graph the equation. So we have y is equal to 3/4 x minus 2. To graph the slope-intercept form, determine the value of m and the value of b. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. So from the given, the value of m is 3/4 and the value of b is -2. So remember, in graphing slope-intercept form, you have to start first with the starting point, okay, which is the y-intercept. So since this is a y-intercept, that is 0, -2. And we have to find where is 0, -2. This is 0, -2. Okay? And then we will move on to the rise over run. So we have rise over run. Okay? So since our slope is positive, our rise is going upward. So since the numerator is 3, we are going 3 steps upward. So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay? And then for the run, we have 4 steps. Since the denominator is 4, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And this will be the point. So as you can see, we have now 2 points. The line postulate, if you still remember, states that 2 points determine a line. So as long as we have the 2 points, we can form a line. Okay? Now, let's determine what kind of line should we use, a broken line or a solid line. Now, the symbol is greater than. Since the symbol is greater than, we will use a broken line. So to have a pattern, I will just draw a solid line and then we will follow the line to make a broken line. Okay? So, yan. I hope this is a straight broken line. Okay, let's see. So this one, it is just a guide. Then later you will see we have a broken line. Ayan. Then we will just erase. Ayan. So we see a broken line, and this broken line is still what we called a plane divider. Okay. So this is still a plane divider wherein it was divided into the first half lane and then to the second half lane. Ayan. So step 3, we will now test if where is the solution set using the point zero zero. Okay? So we will just substitute with the original equation y is greater than 3/4 x minus 2. So the value of y is 0 is greater than 3/4 times the value of x, which is 0 minus 2. And then 0 is greater than 3/4 times 0. Any number multiplied by 0 is 0 minus 2. And then 0 is greater than 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Now let's examine if it is true or false. Is it true that 0 is greater than negative 2? So once again, 0 is always greater than negative numbers. Therefore, this is true. So since the result is true, we have to shade the part with origin. And this is the origin. Okay? So we will shade the first half plane. Okay? So we will use again highlighter. So if you have a pen and paper beside you, you may use color pencil, or any crayons that you have at your home. Okay? So we will just shade this part. Ayan. Okay. So once you are done shading this part, you will just write solution set. Okay. Therefore, all the ordered pairs here in this area is a solution to the linear inequality y is greater than 3/4 x minus 2. So we will just write solution set. So this area is the solution set, and this is the graph of the linear inequality y is greater than 3/4 x minus 2. Okay? So that's how we graph linear inequalities. Now, let's discuss how to graph a system of linear inequalities. Okay? So here are the steps. Step 1, graph each inequality in system on the same coordinate plane. So if we have two linear inequalities, we have to graph the two linear inequalities in the same plane. And step 2 finds the region where the graphs overlap. So the overlapping region will be the solution set. And step 3, pick a testing point in the region to verify the solution. So step 3 is just optional. It is for you to check if your region is correct or incorrect. Okay? Now let's have an example. I have here 4x minus 10y is greater than or equal to 20. And then y is less than 2 negative 3x plus 5. So this is the equation number 1 and equation number 2. Okay? So we have two equations. Let's start first with the equation number 1. Let's write here equation 1. So we have 4x minus 10y is greater than or equal to 20. For the meantime, let's identify first the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Okay? So again, step 1 is you have to replace. We have 4x minus 10y is equal to 20. And then step 2, you have to graph. Okay? So we will now graph. Before that, let's determine the x-intercept and y-intercept. X-intercept, we will just write x-intercept and then y-intercept. Ayan. Okay? So for the x-intercept, we have 4x minus 10y is equal to 20. You will let y is equal to 0 or just remove. It is just a shortcut. And then we have 4x is equal to 20. Divide both sides by 4. So we have now x is equal to 5. So the ordered pair is 5, 0. Okay? Then for the y-intercept, we have 4x minus 10y is equal to 20. So to find the y-intercept, you will let x is equal to 0 or just remove 4x. So we have now negative 10y is equal to 20. Divide both sides by negative 10. So y is equal to negative 2. So this, since it is a y-intercept, we have the ordered pair 0, negative 2. Okay? So let's write for the next slide the values of x and y. So in the equation 1, we have x is equal to 5 and then y is equal to negative 2. Okay? And then balik po tayo for equation number 2. We just write the values. Okay? So let's have equation number 2, which is y is greater than negative 3x plus 5. So step 1, you have to find, you have to replace the inequality symbol with an equal sign, 3x plus 5. Then step 2, you have to graph. Okay, so we will now graph. We have to find the, since this is a slope-intercept form, you just need to find the slope, which is m, and the y-intercept, which is b. Ayan, which is b. So we have the slope, negative 3, and the y-intercept b is 5. Okay, so we can now write this one here. Equation number 2. Equation number 2, we have m is negative 3. Negative 3. And b is 5. Ayan ho. So for equation number 1, balik tayo dito. Equation number 1, we have 5, 0, 0, negative 2. And we have here m is equal to negative 3. And then b is equal to 5 or 0, 5. Okay? So now, let's graph the equation number 1. Let me use a blue pen. So we have x is equal to 5. This is the point. And then y is equal to negative 2. Y is equal to negative 2. This is the point. Now for the equation number 1, since the symbol is greater than or equal, we will use a solid line. Yan. So let's have a solid line. Combine the like term. I combine the 2 points. Ayan, for the solid line. Okay, let me repeat. Okay. So this is now the plane divider of equation number 1. Next, let's have the equation number 2. So b is equal to 5. This is the point. And then for the slope, we have negative 3. So tignan po natin dito. Slope is equal to negative 3. And obviously, the denominator of negative 3 is 1. We will use the rise over run. Okay? So since the slope is negative, we are going downward. Okay? Now, how many steps going downward? The rise is negative 3, so 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. And then the run is 1, so we have 1 step going to the right. Always, the run is always going to the right. Okay? And then, let's determine if it is a solid line or broken line. The equation 2 has less than symbol, so we will use a broken line. So to have a straight line, let's have a pattern first. Ito ho. Ayan. Let's have just a, it is just a pattern to draw a broken line. Ayan. So as you can see, class, we have now plane dividers. Okay? We have now 2 plane dividers. This is the first plane divider. This is the second. And then the blue one is the first plane divider. It's the first. Ayan. Okay? Now, let's determine where is the shaded part. Okay? So, this will be the last step. Let's have the graph. So, equation 1 po muna tayo. Equation 1, we will use 0, 0. So, we have 4x minus 10y is greater than or equal to 20. Para po makita natin na pagkakaiba nila, magdo-drawing ako dito ng line. Or I will just divide this class para po makita nyo magkaiba sila. Okay? So let's start first with equation number 1. So we will replace 0, 0 with the value of x and y. So we have 4 times 0 minus 10 times 0 greater than or equal to 20. 0 minus 0 greater than or equal to 20. 0 is greater than or equal to 20. Is it true or false? It is false. Okay? 0 is always less than positive number. So it is false. This is the origin. So the result is false. So you have to shade the part without the origin. So this will be the shaded part. Okay. So let me use a highlighter. A blue highlighter. Ayan. So this will be the shaded part. Okay. Yan. Next po, we have to find the shaded part with the equation number 1. Let's have the equation number 1. Equation number 2 rather. So let's determine the equation number 2. We will use a pen. We will use a green pen. So we have equation number 2, 0, 0. So we have y is greater than negative 3x plus 5. Y is 0, less than negative 3 times 0 plus 5. So 0 less than negative 3 times 0, that is 0, plus 5. 0 is less than 0 plus 5, we have 5. Now, is it true or false that 0 is less than 5? Yes, it is true. So this is the origin. Since the result is true, you have to shade the part with origin. Yeah, let me use a highlighter. Ayan ho. So we will just shade the part. I use a light color yellow for the equation number 2. Just take it easy to shade the part. I know it is somehow time consuming, but we have to shade the part. Ayan. And then we will see where is the overlapping region. And remember that the overlapping region is the solution set. Okay? So now, let us now determine where is the overlapping region. So, isa-isahin po natin. As we can see here, this one, there is no shaded part here in this part, in this area. So this is not the solution. How about in this area? In this area, we only have a yellow shade or a yellow region. And then for this area, we only have the blue region. So this is not the solution set. And here on the last part, we have the regions yellow and blue. Okay, so they overlap on this part. Therefore, this will be the solution set. Okay, so susulat lang po natin dito. This is the solution set. This part. Yan. This part is the solution set. Okay, so that's it. These are the steps how we will graph linear inequalities and system of linear inequalities. If you have some other questions about the graphing, you may comment your questions about linear inequalities. You may comment your questions, and if you have other clarifications or suggestions, you may also comment down. Okay, so again, I am Ms. Raisa El Galang, your mathematics teacher. Okay, thank you for listening.